I often talk about how I hate the lack of variety in killer builds we are basically forced into as killer players. Aura builds shut down by distortion, anti-heal builds nerfed significantly, gens fly way too fast nowadays, and the answer to that is running a shit ton of regression perks. You can't have a viable build without at least one form of regression, pain res, pop, and surge being the main ones, although I have been told the new oppression is making its way into that meta, but I've yet to try it, so I'll get back to you guys on that. Overall, many builds for killer basically have to be run with the idea that you're going to lose. You might win, sure, but the chances are without some form of regression you will enter a pretty regular tie or loss. Or at the very least you'll end up with 3 gens done before your second hook and will have to snort a line of G Fuel before embodying the skills of Hen so you can start pulling the game back from the Marianas Trench. But what if there was a build where you expect to lose all the generators, where the entire point is for gens to get finished? Well, do I have the build for you? Introducing the in-game build, an entire perk lineup of 7 perks that allow you to come back in the in-game and completely rip shit apart. No Way Out and Remember Me to prevent and slow down gates from opening. Terminus and NOED to make downing survivors easier. Fire Up and batteries included that make completed generators buff you. And Blood Warden that blocks the exit gates so there truly is no escape. Yes, you, my dear viewer, may make a build comprised of these perks that will completely turn the tables and make that guaranteed loss and still guaranteed loss, but hey, you might get 1 kill out of it if everything works out just right and you don't mind playing perkless the entire fucking match. I'm mostly kidding. I love in-game builds. For as long as I've known about them, I found in-game to be the more fun way to play the game, with adrenaline pumping and everything riding on the last 60 to 90 seconds. It can sometimes be extremely fun, and I do have a concept video planned of in-game perks I'd like to see in the game, because we are severely lacking in those. In terms of the in-game, I find it interesting that 3 out of the 7 of these perks come from Freddy Krueger. I of course will have an analysis video on him soon, where I go over him and his playstyle, but one thing I can tell you is that Freddy is not an in-game character. In fact, an entire part of his kit completely shuts off at the end-game. It's infuriating because it's obvious they wanted Freddy to run rampant at the end-game, Fire Up for faster everything, Remember Me to slow the opening of the gates, and Blood Warden to invoke the idea that once you think you're actually out, you aren't. Fire Up is not good because the reward for losing generators is minimal at best, and at worst it's completely unnoticeable, and Remember Me is alright, but it requires you to tunnel out the obsession to get value, and No Way Out is just its better counterpart. But the subject of today's video, Blood Warden, stands out as the only perk in the game that blocks the exit gates. In fact, blocking the exit gates is a pretty rare ability in and of itself. Pinhead's chains, Victor being attached to you, and Wesker slamming you into the gate, and an eerie add-on from The Knight and Freddy are the only ways outside of Blood Warden to actually block the exit gates. It's an interesting effect, but one that doesn't come into play as much as you'd like. I've talked in the past of the power of certain perks that change the way the game is played just because of their existence, and Blood Warden is, funnily enough, one of those perks. The existence of Blood Warden has led to 99ing gates as a strategy, not opening them before you can guarantee that a hook won't happen in the meantime, and on top of that, it also leads to paranoia where if the gates are open and someone goes down, there's a chance survivors will just leave so they don't get Blood Wardened. But if the effect is that powerful, and you've seen clips of people dying to the in-game collapse because of it, then why is it not run more often? Why is the go-to in-game perks of choice always No Way Out or NOED? More than likely both. It's because Blood Warden's effect is far too inconsistent. Not only is the counterplay to it built into the collective habits of the community, with even newer players 99ing gates out of habit and not knowledge as to why they are even doing it, but the timer of 60 seconds is too short. If the person on hook is not rescued, it slows the timer by half, making the in-game collapse 4 minutes instead of 2. So the effect of 60 seconds of the game blocking is cut in half immediately. Its entire effect is entirely dependent on how the survivors play the game that inherently weakens the perk. Blood Warden's effect is one of the strongest in the game, providing an insane amount of additional time, but because it relies on the skill of the survivors, it falls to the wayside. Perks and powers in this game cannot be strong if they rely on your enemy being stupid. This is one of the reasons that even if Trapper got a billion buffs, had half his add-ons become base kit more, he'd still be a C tier at best, because his entire kit is reliant on survivors' lack of ability to pay attention, and that's never going to be strong. Blood Warden is in a very similar boat, where its power is reliant on everything falling neatly into place, basically without your input. Sure, you can try and times things right, attempt to down someone someone as the exit gates are opening, watch the in-game collapse bar and hook at the precise right time where there is nothing the survivors can do about it, and hope they don't all leave while you're walking to the hook, or you can put on No Way Out and No Ed and get an additional 60 seconds with Insta-Down that relies heavily on your own skill at the game and get value without relying on RNG and survivors playing stupid. Which one would you rather go with? And I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. A little bit of a shorter one today, I understand, but I just kind of thought this would be an interesting subject to talk about. Blood Warden is one of those perks that I really love, but I've seen people just kind of wonder why it's not used that much, and I just wanted to answer that question for you. So, as always, let me know what you guys think down below. And of course, as always, a great big special thank you to my channel members listed on screen now. If you want to find out how to become a channel member today, get awesome perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Need more Kaiser in your life? Well, I've got you covered. Check out my second channel, The Kaiser Extras, where I upload full gameplays, stream compilations, me reacting to your Dead by Daylight clips, and more. We also upload a daily short with all the greatest clips from stream. We'll see you over there. Link is in the description.